Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. Welcome to our weekly webinar mapping out your week ahead. Of course, special welcoming goes to our new visitors, and I will explain in a few words what we're doing here, so you'll be prepared and excited. So what we're trying to do here is actually create a plan for the week, and as traders like to say, you plan your trade and then you trade your plan. Of course, we cannot guarantee the success, but I think it's been proven, and we've proven to ourselves, if you spend a little bit of a time organizing your thoughts and future actions, you have better chances to succeed. So that's what we're trying to do here. A few things about myself. My name is Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. I've been trading for over 25 years. I started as a prop trader in New York City in June of 2000. And I never left the industry. I did prop trading for about 11 years, and after that, I moved into, as I like to say, less stressful in my environment, and I also started to mentor and educate others. I'm very happy to have this great opportunity to be assisting our customers as a senior account manager at AvaTrade. The agenda of the webinar. What we do here is we will discuss indices, stocks, commodities, Forex. We'll try to understand what happened the past week. And of course, most importantly, we'll be focusing on the upcoming trading week. We'll look into some fundamentals. We'll go through economic calendar, into the major events, explaining what's happening. And we'll take a look at the chart of the instruments that we mentioned. Also, we'll go through the winners and losers for the past week. We'll try to take a look what's happening there, what could be possible scenario for the upcoming week. A risk warning, of course, everything we do here is purely educational. We do not suggest any trades or give any signals. Social media, please feel free to subscribe and follow us. We have Telegram, we have X, and as I always say, my favorite YouTube channel, where you can find a lot of tutorials, educational materials, webinars. We have many webinars during the week. They are being recorded and posted on YouTube. So if you miss a live webinar, please don't stress. You can find it on YouTube, and you can find time that's suitable for you and watch the webinar whenever you can. If you are watching this webinar on YouTube, please don't forget to click likes. A lot of people are watching it. I don't see a lot of likes, so either you or not liking the webinar, or you just forget to click that. So if you do like it, don't forget, it helps others to watch it. I think that's how YouTube is structured. Share it with people that you think might benefit from this, and write your feedback if you have. All right, before we go into the details and everything else, it's been quite a week, right? In general, we can see and feel that we are in a risk on market. The major indices are making all-time highs. The instruments, the so-called safe haven, are selling a little bit. That includes gold. We're having an amazing week, even though we're in the middle of the summer. It's the end of July. And we're having a very, very busy week filled with events, and definitely it's going to be a lot of moves. We're going to go take a look what's in store for us on the markets. Okay, so let's start. S&Ps right here. These are the articles from MarketWatch.com and from Barron's. S&P scores fifth straight record high ahead of Europe-US trade meeting. By the way, I think later on today, there's a meeting in Europe on that deal with tariffs. Very, very important. A lot of hopes. I think it was said that it was a very constructive conversation with Trump and this von der Leyen lady from Europe. And I think they are meeting today in Stockholm. And as we know, the few deals that already closed, Japan, Philippines, and some other, I think Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken, but a big focus on Europe as a whole, because a lot of countries are involved, of course, and a lot of trade deals happening between US and Europe. So we'll see. We'll probably hear more things as we're getting closer to that meeting. After the meeting, we'll probably see the results. This is important, and this reflects what's awaiting for us for the week. And as you could see, I have two screenshots from two articles, and use pretty much the same event when Trump went to see that building, that there's an issue or alleged issue with spending money on renovating the Fed's building. Anyway, let's just read it together just a little bit. Investors and policymakers are preparing for the raft of economic news next week, this coming week, all while quarterly earnings season gets into the full swing. The tentpole event, perhaps Wednesday afternoon, when the policymaking arm of the Federal Reserve, of Federal Open Market Committee, announces its next interest rate decision. Now, here's the thing: the three other key, right? Here they are. But analysts believe that FOMC's decision is all but assured, which we're expecting no changes, right? And here are the things to watch. The market participants would also be watching the gross domestic product, the GDP numbers, inflation, and employment data. Here, what to know, okay? So that's something that's very important. We're going to take a look in details when we get to economic calendar. Here we go. Another one with the same, almost the same picture, just he holds the paper here instead of the helmet, I guess. A flood of economic data is coming. Pay attention to the unemployment rate. Here we go. And as we know, Fed said they're really focusing now on unemployment rate. Holy micro. The coming week sets up to be among the busiest in memory of economic news, with such key events as Federal Open Market Committee meeting, release of the monthly job data, the August 1st tariffs deadline, plus there will be estimates for the gross domestic products and employment costs for the second quarter. The release of June's measure of the personal consumption expenditure price index, the Federal Reserve favorite inflation gauge, and the Treasury latest borrowing plans. These are all the things that are happening. That's why I said it's going to be a very busy week. Prepare yourself. I usually say it at the end of the webinar, but get some good energy, prepare yourself, have a plan, and have your risk plan in play as well. Next, US and China to talk tariffs. Hopes are rising, the truth less. The hope of the expectation is that when US officials meet their Chinese counterparts in Stockholm to talk economics and trade next week, they will build on a recent lessening of tension as the US tries to set up a fall meeting between the country's leaders and lay the groundwork for another loosely defined trade pact. All right, interesting, right? Here we go. Next one, I didn't hear much about it, but I just saw this article, so I figured it's important. Microsoft hack affects some of the highest levels of government. The stock is up. As details about the cyber attack, Microsoft SharePoint's servers have trickled out, the situation has sounded more and more concerning. Microsoft stock, however, barely has budged. Microsoft initially disclosed the hack on July 18, saying it was aware of active attacks against SharePoint server customers that exploited vulnerabilities partially addressed by an early security update. Here's the thing, several US government agencies, including Department of Homeland Security and National Institutes of Health, were breached according to multiple reports. The DHS spokesperson confirmed and SharePoint vulnerability in the message of Barron's, adding, there is no evidence of data infiltration at DHS or any of the components at this time. So it was a breach. Apparently no data was leaking. So, but still something very concerning if they decided to put it on Barron's. All right, Feds, the meeting starts on Tuesday. The results we hear on Wednesday, followed by the press conference. As of now, no big changes. We are at 4.1% probability of the rate cut, 95%, 96%, no change, mostly no change. Okay, we got to economic calendar. I'll just explain a few things to new people what it is. It's public information. You can find it on our web trader or the app. You can just Google it. It's available all over the place. What we hear here, what we see here is what's waiting for us for the upcoming week. And I believe all the traders are, I think it's a must to look at economic calendar so you prepare yourself for the upcoming week so you won't be caught by surprise with the spikes and other things on the market. So as you could see, it's a full week. What I do here, I just get out or pull out the high impact events. There's so much more. You can browse through it. You can filter out whatever it's relevant to your trading. So these are the high impact events starting with Wednesday. We have CPI numbers from Australia, GDP numbers from Germany, followed by GDP numbers from European Union. Here we have the ADP data. That's one of the agencies that report how many jobs were added. Then they have GDP numbers, the one that we mentioned in the article there. We have interest rate decision from Canada. Then we have the interest rate decision from US. Now, Canada expects to hold it the same to 75, and US Feds are planning on holding, or that's the consensus, at 4.5%. Now followed by the policy statement. As usually 30 minutes after the announcement, we have the press conference, which in this case is the main event and the market will be reacting to it. So prepare yourself for that Wednesday. Going to Thursday, retail sales from Australia, manufacturing and non-manufacturing PMI from China. Another interest rate decision, very important, Bank of Japan, also followed by press conference on Thursday. CPI numbers from Germany, and these are the numbers that the article mentioned, the core personal consumption expenditure. The Feds are looking very closely to these numbers on Thursday. And Friday, we have a manufacturing PMI, consumer price index from European Union, and we have the employment data. So usually it's the first Friday of the month, NFP numbers. That includes also the unemployment that the article suggests that we watch the unemployment rate. So these are the things to watch this week and to be prepared, okay? Economic calendar. All right, we're gonna jump to winners and losers. And as I said previously, we'll go through them when we get to the chart. So this past week, the champions were the Cocoa, Nikkei. I'm not gonna announce the numbers, you can just look into it. Cocoa, Nikkei, Copper, S&Ps, Dow Jones are the champions. On the losing part, the biggest loser was natural gas. And then we go to palladium, sugar, gasoline, heating oil, corn, soybeans, coffee, platinum, crude oil, and wheat. In the Forex world, the champion was the euro dollar, up 1%. NZD and Aussie close to that, also up for the week. Euro GBP, very important. I'm going to show you the chart. It's a very important strategic point now. Technically, we're going to take a look at the chart. So the downside, as we said, dollar was giving up, was Japanese yen, and pound yen was down as well. So these are the things. And now we're going to move to the charts, and then we'll start. As usual, we start with indices. Then we'll go to some stocks, and then we'll go through the losers and the winners as the whole list. We'll go through it. So, as we said, we had new highs on indices. Let's just start with China. By tradition, we usually do that. China, the last 2 days of the week was moving down. Still a green week. We have so far 5 green weeks on Chinese index. Japanese index had a nice run previously with that deal being closed with Japan. And the last 2 days of the week, it looks like it was a profit taking here Thursday and Friday. Now, US markets, US indices. S&P 500 all-time highs. As the article says, we moved 5 consecutive days out of 5, and it says from the source that I look into, it says the last time it set record every day in a week was November 2021. So it's super strong. As you could see here, when we had consolidation here and then moving higher. There's no reference to the upside, as we are the all-time highs. We did the index, the cash index moved, as we said, up 0.4% on Friday, and for the week it was up 1.48%. Nasdaq had the down day as well, but still moved very nicely. It had the index itself, what we see here in the charts, the futures, but the index itself, it says it was up 9 times in the past 10 days. So it's very strong as well. And Dow Jones is still a little bit short of the all-time highs, even though it was having a strong week. Dow Jones was up 1.21%, the index. So as you could see, the indices are very strong, all-time highs. Now, Germany, it remained strong. We did make all-time high back on the 9th of July. Since then, there's a consolidation here. We're sitting above the 50-day moving average. Looks very healthy here. Here we go, the UK, the FTSE all-time highs, super strong. Also, Friday close at the highs. So as you could see, the global indices are very strong. Now, moving to individual stocks, we are having a busy week with earnings. We have more than 150. I think last week was 100 companies. This week we have 150 companies reporting, and among them, the biggest ones reporting for this week, Microsoft and Meta or Facebook, they are reporting on Wednesday the 30th, and Apple and Amazon the 31st. So I'll just take a quick look at the charts. Here we go, Microsoft. It looks super strong. That data issue, security issue, didn't really affect the stock much. We are trading at the all-time highs at Microsoft. Again, they are reporting on the 30th of July, which is this upcoming Wednesday. Meta or Facebook, they are reporting the same day. We after having a retest of the all-time highs, which happened on June 30th. Since then, we've been a little bit sliding lower, even though we're still above all the moving averages here. But it looks that we are forming a little bit of the downtrend line here. Let's see what the earnings or how the earnings will affect the share price. Apple's been not having a lot of fun, right? We know they're a little bit behind with the AI, and that affects the stock tremendously. We're far from being at the all-time highs. With the weekly chart, and we can try to draw the trend line. We're way below the trend line. So the earnings are on Thursday for Apple and Amazon as well, the same day. So 4 major stocks from the Magnificent Seven are reporting this week, right? Here we go, Amazon. Also, it is below the all-time highs, but it looks strong. And let's see what the earnings will bring for those companies. Now, on individual stocks, we had a run on the market, but one thing that caught my attention, that NVIDIA didn't manage to make all-time highs, which is, we made the all-time high on the 18th. After that was sold, and then we moved high here, right? If you remember this jump, right, when Trump removed the ban on the H20 chips, I believe, for China from NVIDIA, we had a nice jump, continue higher. Then we closed the gap here on the 22nd, and now we're retesting the highs. Why am I bringing NVIDIA? As you know, it's a leading stock with a lot of power to move, especially NASDAQ. So definitely we'll continue watching NVIDIA for this upcoming week with all the events, all the news, all the announcements. Let's see if we manage to break and make all-time highs again. Now, banks, as we said, should be watching banks. Let's see how they behave. So far, we had the 3 consecutive sessions to the upside. Goldman Sachs, super strong. JP Morgan, super strong. Bank of America, a little bit behind. If you remember last week, we said the Citigroup was strongest, and it continues holding that all-time highs. So the banks are strong. We're going to be watching them, of course. Whenever we see a reversal in the banks, definitely it will pull the market down. As of now, they look super, super strong, moving higher. The only thing that not that worries me, something that catches my eye, especially Citigroup here. So making all-time highs, we have the volume drying, but that could be also because of the summer, or it could be a sign of possible reversal. As you could see, as we go higher, the volume, the price goes higher, the volume decreases. That's important to notice. Right? JP Morgan, similar pretty much, and Goldman as well. So as the bank's moving higher, the volume rise up a little bit. But again, it could be because of the summer. Okay, so that's the stock. Again, important to remember. So the indices are super strong at all-time highs. We have 4 major stocks reporting among the 150 out of S&P 500. Meta and Microsoft on Wednesday, and Apple and Amazon on Thursday. All right, so that's as far as stocks. We're going to be watching NVIDIA. We're going to be watching banks as well. Now, moving to commodities. There were more losers than winners. So we'll start with cocoa. Cocoa had a positive week. Here we go. Erasing the previous week's loss, up 6.88%. I'm not going to repeat myself, but for new people, especially, cocoa had a nice move up. We had all-time highs, not the all-time, but the higher high from the previous one back in December. Since then, we made a lower high and a lower low. All this is due to physical shortage of cocoa in West Africa. Copper was up 3.56%. If you remember, the initial move here was with the tariffs. The Trump said it's going to be 50% tariffs on copper. We had a huge initial spike. We had a nice correction and we moved higher, making a higher high from here. So copper, I was listening to Bloomberg last week. It looks like the U.S. ports are full of copper ahead of that trigger of that tariffs. So let's see how that works. So my logic tells me, okay, if the tariffs go through, that's good for copper. I mean, for the price of copper is remaining higher. But imagine if the tariffs were removed and all that copper loaded and stuck at the ports, we might see actually the move down. The copper is going to be oversupplied, right? So it's very important to watch copper, see how those tariffs will play in tariffs destiny. To the downside, natural gas had a down week. We are trading or close at 309, still above that strategic $3 level. So we start having a little consolidation after the move down. The question is this a support? Because last time we actually had a support here around 309.7. We're about the same level here. It looks like we're holding 3 consecutive sessions. It looks like we couldn't break that level, so it could be loading for the move up. It could be also moving lower, trying to close the gap, or moving even lower there. So natural gas will watch. Palladium, as the metals retraced a little bit to the downside. Palladium, after the recent run, we had 2 consecutive sessions, down 3.3% for the week. Sugar also had a negative week after the previous 2 weeks to the upside, down 3.21%. Also, energies were down, as gasoline down almost 3%, 2.93, sitting right here on 200-day moving average here. So we had a huge drop here. You remember that was when the 12-day war was over with Iran. Then we had a move up, correction, and then came right back, and we're trading around 200-day moving average. Heating oil, similar situation, at a nice correction, stronger than in gasoline, and we are above all 3 moving averages here, so it looks stronger. So the heating oil lost 2.29%. Corn, the grains also went down this week. Corn was down 2.2%. They've been weak for a while, but we are holding, it looks like we're holding this previous double bottom here. So let's see what this week will bring. Soybeans as well. They've been selling the whole week pretty much, and we're approaching the previous support around 994 here. Down 2% for the week. Coffee. If you remember, I mentioned coffee with tariffs on Brazil. Initially, when we moved higher, we came down on the 21st, then 3 sessions up, and Friday was a sell-off. Overall, we had a red week, down week on coffee. Well, we're still, if we break through the previous high here, we would officially make the higher high and the higher low. So let's see if that happens. And if it does happen, we have a chance to continue higher from here. So coffee this past week down 1.89%. Another metal is down, platinum. The whole week pretty much went down. And for the week, it's been down 1.58%. We had a huge run here. If you remember, again, I'm repeating this for new people, not to bore the rest of you. If you remember a while ago, I was showing that screenshot of an article where the platinum in 2014 was $200. The price of platinum $200 higher per ounce than gold, and a lot of analysts said that platinum, it's time for it to play some catch up, and it did. We moved very nicely here from 925 all the way to about 1500, and this is the first red week in a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks to the upside. If you see the previous week, we have a little indecisiveness here, and this past week was sold. So let's see if this is just the profit taking or reversal. We'll find out soon. So platinum down 1.58%. Crude oil also went down together with the other energy futures that we set. Had the same thing at correction. We briefly pulled our head above 200 moving average, went straight below 50, and we are trading close to that initial low of that drop. So oil down 1.5%, almost 1.48%, and another grain, wheat, down 1.28%. So the grains are weak, the energies are weak, and the metals are weak for the past week that we had. Let's see if we have recovery this week or continuation. So that brings us back or forward to Forex, and we'll take a look at dollar index. Dollar index had 3 down days, 2 up. For the week, we're still down. And let's go through the winners and losers. Euro was the winner. Euro USD was up 1% for the week. Nice move. We did manage to retest the previous high, but still a strong week. We started strong with 3 consecutive weeks and correction on Thursday and Friday. NZD, New Zealand dollar, was up almost 1% as well. Similar situation. 3 big days to the upside, 2 days correction, sitting right on the 50-day moving average here. Now we have these decisions, right? Canadian dollar, we're gonna watch, and Japanese yen, and of course US dollar. We had 3 decisions this week from the Feds in the US, from Canadians, and from Japan. So NZD up 0.93%, 0.96%, sorry, and Aussie dollar up 0.93%. So as you can see, they're strong. And here we go. Euro pound said we are at the strategic point. Take a look at this spike. This was April 11. The high here was 0.87379. Here we go. We closed 1 pip above. Very interesting, right? Say the levels are important. So the question is, what's next? Here we go on the weekly chart. We can see it clearly. We had attempt to break through it. Very next week we broke down and the whole downtrend started. Then we had a nice recovery, pretty fast recovery considering that move down. It took a long time. We had a fast recovery up, retracement. So here we have a V form, a V recovery here. Usually, again, we see a quick V recovery. We might see the correction to the downside. And let's see if that happens. And if we do break and start building up some support above this 0.8738, we might see continuation to the upside. Right, very, very crucial. Also, as you could see, I don't know how real the volume is, but as we went higher, the volume didn't really increase. So we might see the correction. That's why I mentioned this earlier. The euro pound, definitely we should be watching, or either the correction to the downside, nice reversal, or a breakout. But as you could see here, so far this level didn't let the instrument move higher. So euro pound up 0.84% for the week. Now to the downside, we had dollar Swiss down 0.85%. It's been selling for a long time here. As you could see, been weak. Dollar yen as well was down for the week, down 0.77%, and pound yen was down 0.61%. Nothing huge here, as you could see. It really trades pretty much in the same level for a while. So that's as far as Forex. Again, 3 interest rate decisions, and we're going to watch what's happening. And for dessert, as usual, we'll take a look at cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin has been sitting here. We had this spike down, which was recovered right away, and we are trading. You were to draw kind of immediate support and resistance. So we take recent highs and lows. The low here was 114,694, and the high 123,175. About 6,000-7,000 channel. So that's on Bitcoin. XRP, after making the all-time highs here, it shook up a lot of, I mean, you could see if you are participating in XRP trades, if you're holding, investing, or day trading it, you probably saw a lot of things all over the social media. There's a lot of excitement. Some say don't sell, some say yes, some show huge plans for XRP as some banks started to use it for the international money transferring. I mean, if you see from a simple, if we don't know this XRP, you just look from the technical point of view. We had a nice move. The moment we broke 340, we continued. So this move that happened on 17th was a huge range, right? From 298 to 254. Then we had few attempts to move higher, and then we erased the whole thing. That's normal. We're testing now this level around 3. So you could see we did try to penetrate that level by the low of 295 on the 24th, right? And then currently trading above 315. So it looks like 3 is holding, and as long as it's holding, the investors and traders are happy. I guess now we would need to retest the 340. That was the previous high that we established back in January. Let's see what happens, right? So that's crypto, and I think that's it. Just before we wrap it up, I just want to show you something. If you take S&Ps and you take monthly chart, and if you take across the board all the indices and most of the successful or strong stocks, we're closing the month. We have 3 consecutive candles to the upside. So again, if we see the 3 consecutive candles to the upside, some might say, okay, it's time for some correction, because that's what's happening a lot of time, even though we didn't have it here, right? But it's worth paying attention, right? As this week, again, we said, I'll just go back to it, so it's important so I don't make it up. Here we go. These are the things for this week. Yeah. It's important to remind us again. So we have the meeting of the Feds, and they are releasing the decision. Then we have job data. Then we have deadline for the tariffs. We have GDP numbers. We have personal consumption expenditure, which is the favorite inflation gauge of Feds. And it's going to be a busy week. So like I said before, get some energy, prepare yourself for the week, get some rest, get some positive energy, give some positive energy to your loved ones, prepare yourself for the week. We have an intense week, as some analysts that we just read a piece of the article that expecting a lot of moves. There's a lot of data together in a short week. And I wish everyone a great weekend and a successful and a profitable week. And see you all next Sunday. All the best. Take care.